Hey Capricorn, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. We're going to take what works, leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if you haven't figured it out already, I had to slow down the pace of my readings a little bit. But hopefully my plan is to pick up again in the new year. Just things got a little busy with all of the stuff that I do and I'm involved in. And all of my jobs have December as the peak. So things got a little out of control there. We're going to just take one from here. All right, we're starting off with the Oracle decks, Oracle of Mystical Moments, Moonology, and Work Your Light. And then we're going to move on to the Muse Tarot for a more traditional tarot spread. All right. Ooh, what? This baby just came out for, what was it, Scorpio? All is connected. This is talking about, something just needing a little tweak, a little change. I see Anansi here. We have a couple spiders in this deck. So it is like a time of change and everything's connected like a spider web, right? So just one little tweak on that silk and or whatever it is they spin out of their butts. And it changes the whole dynamic. It touches the fabric of reality and shifts that. So, but Anansi always reminds me that there's something about storytelling in this. There's something about the way we're telling a story, the way we're talking about something, the way we interact with something, the way we frame it, the story in which, the fabric in which it's embedded. And we have some sort of say, and there's something about the way we're talking about something. And if we just change it a little bit, just change our communication a little bit, just change the way we're telling the story a little bit, it can open up a whole different way of seeing things, a whole different, a lot of change, just a little tweak needed. We have the Gardener here. I love this. Okay. We have the Gardener here. To me, this card is, it's about how we nurture and nourish ourselves and what we bring to our community. So that, self-care, it's a popular topic and it gets a bad rap sometimes. But when we take care of ourselves and make sure our bodies and our spirits and our psychology are as healthy as possible, we bring that healthier self into our society, into the meetings we attend, into our community. We bring that healthier self in there. And we're only responsible for ourselves, right? So that's the only thing we can really, truly make healthy is our own selves. And then a healthy community is made out of healthy individuals. So we're doing our part. When we have peace within ourselves, we're doing our part to bring peace into our community, to bring peace into our nation, to bring peace into the world and the universe. So we want world peace. We have to be nurturing ourselves and caring for ourselves and growing that within us, because that's the only part we can play. And that's the part that we bring into the world. So this is about nurturing yourself, growing parts of yourself, nurturing and nourishing and choosing what you want to grow, weeding. Gardening involves basically just caring for life and caring for ourselves and caring for our own life. This card really talks to me about community and the connection between self-care and community care. The connection between our paying close attention to our own mental health and well-being and the health and well-being of our communities and any community that we're a part of. So we can bring our healthiest, best self to that community, to those relationships. And so to me, these two together are talking about a nurturing, nourishing way that we interact with ourselves, and changing some sort of narrative about who we are in our community, possibly, or who we are all together, and then how that change, that nurturing, that nourishing of the self, that self-care, that gentleness and love for ourselves, how just a little tweak in there can have such huge ramifications out there. That's what these two cards together are talking to me about, is that there's some sort of a gentler or a kinder or more beautiful way that you can frame something, a story that you tell, or a story that you tell yourself, the story that you have of your own life and of who you are. There's some small tweak there that's going to really change the way you show up to your relationships. We also have House of Flowers here. This is something popping out in a really interesting, unique, and possibly surprising way. Something that's been very boring and very uninspiring, coming out and being much more inspiring, much more full of life. This could be you. This could be something that you've grown and you've nurtured in yourself. That's coming forward now to be seen, and creating a change, possibly in your home life, and with the people that you live with. There's also some companionship here as well. So I think we're talking about relationships, and we're talking about relationships coming to life through your own self-care, and your own self-care through the way you frame things and the way you talk about yourself and your life and who you are. And then we have My Dear Friend, possibly one of my favorite cards in this deck, number 47, My Dear Friend. This is about something, some concept or some idea or some person that's been with you for decades. This refers to a previous card in the deck. I think it's 18 or 19, called, this is My Dear Friend, called The Journey, and it's just beginning. So it's companion cards in this deck about companionship. And this could be about a person that's with you. I see several things about relationship here, or just a concept or idea or a dream that you've had for a very long time. And maybe it hasn't been with you every step of the way in reality. There might be an ungroundedness that this relationship or this vision has endured or experienced through the decades. But this is about something that's been with you for a long time. And it could be just needing to reframe this relationship, just needing to reframe your connection to this person, and in order for it to be healthier and in order for it to come to life. Retelling of the story, figuring out a small tweak here that can change the whole thing and bring it to life. Then we have the Age of Light here. You've been training for this for lifetimes. This matches this, and like this has been a long-term project, a long-term investment. You've possibly imagined this for a very long time. You've dreamt about this. This has been with you for a long, long time. This idea, this dream, this vision. It's not something that just occurred to you. We're not talking about some sort of ace here or some sort of new beginning. We're talking about something that's been with you for a long time. You need to tweak how you talk about it, how you frame it, how you frame the situation. You need to take care of yourself. Make sure you're bringing your healthiest self here. Something's coming to life that's been dead, that's been maybe boring, but it's a long-term dream coming to life, and you're ready for it. Let's see. Oh, I do have my deck up right here. All right, we're going to move to the Muse Tarot Capricorn for a more traditional spread here. Okay, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. This is really funny. You also, as well as so many other signs over the past 2 weeks, have 4 of emotions here. This would be the card of the week of this set. So overall, we have just a huge transformation, a huge change. Big change is coming in here. In your recent past, we have 8 of emotions. This is realizing that what you have isn't what you want. You might have a lot. It might have looked good. This is like you've been out in the desert. There's been this blinding sun. You have sun blindness. This has been white sands. It could be snow. It's not snow, but that blindness, not being able to see, but here then the moon eclipses. Is that how that works? I just suddenly completely forgot my eclipse astronomy understanding. Anyway, but the sun is finally being blotted out, so that the amount of light and what you can see is more accurate or reasonable. There's a reasonable amount of light here, and now you can see where you are. You were able to see where you were, and you were able to see that, wait a minute, how did I get here? This isn't what I wanted. So we went in search of something that we did want. The literary we or whatever. You. So this is becoming unsatisfied with where you're at. I see a pattern here. I see a situation, a pattern of relating or a pattern of energy here. And you just don't want it anymore. It's not working for you. And this isn't one of those cards. The decks have, tarot has several cards about leaving something behind. And you've got that right underneath here, this death card right underneath this Eight of Emotions, leaving something behind. The Eight of Emotions is very specific though about you're going towards something. Something is calling you. Your intuition is calling you forward. It's not, there are some cards that are like, oh, fuck this. I don't even care what happens next. I'm just leaving this behind. This card is like, I have an idea. I have something in mind that I think is going to be much more fulfilling, much more satisfying than where I am right now. Where I am right now looks fine. This looks okay. This looks decent. This looks fine. Most people looking from the outside would be like, that seems good. That seems like they've got everything they need. But you know it's not everything you need. You know that, and your intuition's calling you forward to something better that's a better fit for you, a better situation for you. Virgo just had this card, I think. In your current situation is Four of Emotions. This is about breaking a cycle. You're in the middle of realizing something isn't working for you anymore. You've been enticed into this situation, or you've been offered this over and over and over again. You take it every time and it's just not satisfying. It's this thing in Eight of Emotions. It's these Four of Emotions here. This hasn't been rewarding. You try it. You try this again and again and again, and it's just not rewarding. It's just not what you want. You never get what you want out of it. There could be the whole gist of Four of Emotions is that there's an offer and there's repeated offers, repeated acceptance, and then finally there's a refusal. There's like, I don't need this anymore. I'm going to be fine without this. So my typical example is this is Lucy with Charlie Brown and the football. And in 30 Years of Peanuts comic strips, Lucy never allows Charlie Brown to kick that football. So this is the moment, this would be that moment, that satisfying moment that is never satisfied in the entire history of Peanuts, where Charlie Brown just says, fuck off, Lucy. I know what you're doing, and I've already been down this route 4,000 times. I don't want to do this anymore. And you know what? Even if I never, ever get to kick a football again in my life, or ever in my life, I will be fine. I don't need to kick a football. And he walks away. So that's what this Four of Emotions is realizing that we've overindulged this pattern. We've overdone this emotional connection, or this emotional pattern here. I do see so much about some sort of pattern coming through here, some sort of vibration or pattern, and you've been in it too long. You don't want to operate in the way that you've operated before. There's a sense of realizing that you are enough, that you have enough, that you don't need this situation to go on anymore. You're not going to lose anything by refusing to engage and indulge in this unsatisfying pattern repetition. So this Eight of Emotions and this Four of Emotions coming together, Eight of Emotions being like, this is unsatisfying and I'm ready to move forward. Four of Emotions is getting to this is unsatisfying and I don't want to do this anymore. I want to break this pattern. I want to break free of this. In your hopes and fears, well, this is probably your hopes, success. Nine of Materials. This is usually financial, worldly success. This is actually the gardener having a bumper crop. This is having a lot of power, having a lot of say, having all the money that you need, all the time that you need, having been very successful in whatever you set out to do. It's materials, so it usually has a 3D vibe to it. Wanting success in the 3D, wanting success in the world, wanting to have, in a way, wanting to have already manifested what you want, wishing possibly that you were already there, that you already had made what you already want, that you were more successful than you are, that you'd already achieved and accomplished that which you wanted to achieve and accomplish. Here's the card. I don't know if I showed that to you, but Nine of Materials. What's at issue here is we have this Knight of Inspiration, or would be a Knight of Wands. Knights are about communication and fast movement. So, and inspiration is about, inspiration, and intuition and creativity. So there's either a lack of creativity, maybe a lack of creative problem solving, maybe a lack of creativity in the situation, or a lack of communication, or a lack of movement towards a creative and or sexual endeavor. It's just not there. The Knight of Inspiration is just not showing up. We're not able to accomplish what we want to accomplish. Maybe we've wanted a relationship, but there's no sexual component to the relationship yet, and that's what the success that we were actually wanting. There could be having not had creative success or movement or communication. There's just not a communication. There might not be communication about a physical component of a relationship, or there's just a lack of communication, a lack of inspired communication. We may be, talking nuts and bolts about things, but there's not any sort of excited, inspired communication that's really got some motion to it and some movement towards what you want. In your environment, you have death. There's just huge changes going on in either to someone around you or in your environment. There's just a really big change, a really big ending. Of course, that ending has within it the very kernel of the next beginning, but there's just a big ending going on around you. This could be an ending of a relationship, an ending of a job. Something's ending here. And that's the environment that you find yourself in. There's this is the only major arcana here. So the whole thing is something coming to an end here. But it's also inherent in that death card is the kernel of the new beginning, the little seed of the new beginning here. Your to-do list is 8 of Inspiration. I love it. Because these are both about communication, this 8 of Inspiration, this Knight of Inspiration. So we haven't been communicating, we'll do it. Go ahead and communicate. I think you've got to figure out a different way to communicate. I think you've got to tweak your story of what's going on here. My heater just turned on, so I'm sorry, it sounds like a jet engine. But hopefully you can hear me with my mic. So this is strong communication. This is clear, precise communication, lots of communication. Where once it was slow, it's now fast. That's your to-do list, is to communicate something very clearly. But I think you want to make sure that this communication brings in a lot of positivity, a lot of your own health and well-being. You're communicating your own work on yourself and your own health and well-being. You've thought about communicating for a long time, I think, and I think this is asking you to bring in this communication. But I think it's communication about, it's clear, strong communication that moves things forward. And maybe this thing that you're not interested in is this soft, nebulous, indistinct, indirect communication. Maybe that's what you're sick of and what you're ready to move away from, and move more towards some direct, clear communication. And where you're going is gorgeous. There's just a relationship vibe. Whenever this one comes up, I always try to make it possible, that it's a career, or because this could really actually be like some sort of passion project or something like that you've had for a long time. But we also have this 2 of Emotions coming in here that's really making me think this is a lot about relationships and a lot about bringing your healthiest self and making sure that you're working on your own health and well-being to bring that into the relationship with other people. This is 2 of Emotions. This is going to be 2 of Cups. This is soulmate, kindred spirit energy, a deep communication, a deep bond, really being able to see eye to eye, really diving deep into emotional issues and emotional communication. We're not having very inspired communication. Maybe you need to be a little more clear about what you want. And then here's where you go, deep emotional sharing. It's a beautiful emotional dance between 2 people that are deeply connected, sharing their emotions and their feelings. And this coming in with this just makes me think that this is very likely, if you weren't thinking about it already, a relationship. All right, let's see what the Wild Kuan Yin has to say about this week's reading, or this fortnight's reading. Uniquely you. The more we are willing to become authentic rather than conventional, that's what I think this is, a really authentic communication. And that's what I think you need to bring in, is this authentic communication. Rather than conventional, the more we will need to eschew conditioning in favor of aliveness. Be willing to run the risk of being authentic so that you can live from your heart and experience real joy. So that's possibly what is missing here, is some really authentic communication. You don't want this milquetoast bullshit anymore. But yeah, so one little tweak changes everything. All right, Capricorn, I hope that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for your likes and your subscribes and your comments. I do so enjoy those. And so I hope you have a good whatever time period it will be before I do another reading for you.